Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of City of Champions with the City of Minneapolis. We have our third championship, and it's with this team you can see right here in front of you, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And before we get into it, and I'm really bad at self-promotion, but guys, if you could drop the video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, I would appreciate it. I'm inching closer to 500 subs. It's a minor number in the world of YouTube, but it would be a pretty huge milestone for me. So that out of the way, let's take a look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know that we can look at the actual, once it gets past the final game, you can't look at the playoff breakdown. At least I don't think you can. So we'll do it this way. So first round, it was a 7-game victory Game 7 victory over the Dallas Mavericks. We were up 3-0, then lost 3 in a row, then won Game 7. Then we defeated the Lakers, swept them in 4, before taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. You can see a 4-1 series victory there. And then in the finals, we defeated the Toronto Raptors in 7 games, winning Game 4, 107-86. Some big changes took place during the offseason for the Timberwolves. We went small, really. We traded both Alperen Sengun and Karl Anthony Towns. I can't even remember where we traded them. We traded Sengun to Milwaukee, I believe. Yep, we traded Sengun to Milwaukee, and we did that for just first-round pick. We picked up Milwaukee's first-round pick, and it was a top 10 pick, top 5 pick, ultimately. I'll show you what we got in the draft here in a minute, but we traded Sengun for a first-round pick. Milwaukee had the cap space to take him, and they were willing to take that deal on, so Sengun to Milwaukee for a pick, and let's find Karl Anthony Towns. Karl. The Jazz. Okay, we traded him to the Jazz. Excuse me. We traded Anthony Towns to the Jazz for a second-round pick and a second-round pick, to the Jazz for a first-round pick. Chinanu Onuaku and Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins and Onuaku didn't make it through the season with the team, but we picked up another first-round pick, and that's really what it was all about. It was about getting the contracts off the books. So we picked up a couple of draft picks, and with those picks, we had a pretty solid draft. Let's get to our team. We are the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's see if I can remember what we did here. Was it last year's draft? Yeah, I don't think last year's draft. Man, I can't remember. I'm really bad at this. I'm sorry. If we go to transactions, let's go to... Can we just look at our teams? I don't think we can. Can we go all the way back to the draft? Does it show up? Towns. There's the Towns deal. I think this is just free agency. I don't know, because there are your coach signings. And these were all of the... Yeah, these were all of... I think these were the draft day trades. Renouncing the rights. Then I think we get into actual free agency. Yeah, do we have all those picks this year? Who are we? Okay, so we have Minnesota's pick this year. We had the Jazz's pick last year. Who did we take in the draft last year? It's the problem with doing this like every once a week. You forget what the hell you did. Trent Means, that's who we picked up. We picked up Trent Means with the 5th pick. The Jazz had a lottery pick. We picked up Trent Means with the number 5 overall pick, a 20-year-old guard. Looks like more of a shooting guard, but was classified as a point guard in the draft. The handling and passing isn't quite great. But he came off the bench for us last year, 12 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. And I drafted him because I don't know what the future is going to hold for Morant. His contract is up after this year, and he wants to test free agency. Obviously, we're going to try to bring him back. Yeah, he wants to go to free agency. So I wanted to make sure that we had a backup plan just in case. And you can see another great season. Almost 27 points, 8 rebounds, almost 6 assists from Morant. So that was our first round pick. And then Adam Gordon, who we picked up a year ago at the trade deadline for Clement Doctor. He was a 2-star, 4.5-star when we picked him up last year. He's now 3.5-star, 5-star, and he averaged 20 a game. So 20 points, almost 8 rebounds, and he's only getting paid $8 million this year and 10 next. So that was a fantastic deal for us. If we look at the team stats, and it's been a little disjointed. That's how I do things. John Morant, 26 points. Again, almost 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Adam Gordon, 20 points, 7 rebounds. Brandon Clark, we signed using the mid-level exception. I would love to be able to bring him back. He was fantastic for us off the bench. 13 points, 8 rebounds, a block, and a steal a game. John Thunell averaged 12 a game. Trent Means we talked about. Thunell, that's a lot of money for that type of production. But the ratings suggest he's worth it. He's a good ball handler, can shoot the ball inside and outside. Good scorer, good rebounder, great defensively. Josh Bonner got the starting nod at center. Shot the ball terribly, 34% from the field, but averaged 11 points, almost 9 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks a game. So he gave us defensively what we needed. Doylan Beck was a disappointment. 11.5 points a game. I expected him to score more this year with Anthony Towns and Sengun gone, and he just didn't do it. So we may end up moving on from Doylan Beck. Again, great defensively, great ball handler, great shooter, but making $26 million next year or making $28 million next year in the last year of his contract. So we may move on from him. Marvin Bagley, we signed to a 2-year, like $2.8 million contract or something like that. And he was fine, so he'll be coming off the bench next season. Travis Kenna is kind of our 4th string. Next year could be our 3rd string if we do trade back Bike. And then Jones, Kispert, Jones, Derek Jones, Kai Jones, Bogdanovich, Powell, they were all minimum contract guys when the season started. So we're going to go into next year confirmed with Gordon, Thunell, Means, Bonner, and Bike right now. Our offseason will be shaped by what happens with Morant. If we can't re-sign John Morant, we'll probably try a sign and trade to pick up some additional draft picks and additional assets, young assets. And in that, if we can't keep Morant, we keep Bike. If we keep Morant, we probably don't keep Doyle and Bike. So stay tuned for that. But that is championship number 3, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's now take a look at... Let's look at the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings were a bit of a disappointment this year. We finished, 10-7, I believe? Yeah, 10-7. Again, one of the best defenses in the NFL. Our offense was just bad this year. We finished first. Yeah, we finished first in the NFC North. The rest of the division was terrible. But that's the only reason we made the playoffs, because the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears were all really, really bad. And we did lose in the first round of the playoffs. If we go back and look at the playoffs, we lost to the San Francisco 49ers 22-15. And we made a change at quarterback, and I don't know if it's going to come back to haunt us. It could. But we traded quarterback for quarterback, picked up a draft pick, and then signed our new quarterback to a long-term deal. So I will see if it works. I don't know if it's going to. He didn't play particularly well this year, and that's a bit of a concern. So John Anderson was a top draft pick of the Where is he? Of the Cincinnati Bengals. He was the 5th overall pick back in 2022. He was buried behind Joe Burrow. So we traded Harold Reese and Kyle Fuller to the Bengals for John Anderson and a 6th. Anderson, intelligence is okay. Accuracy is pretty good. His arm isn't great. He's an 85 overall, and we signed him long-term. I don't know if that's going to work. We may see what's available in free agency, and we may go the free agent route for a quarterback. And one of the things about this game is that you don't suffer any penalties for cutting players. So if we can find a quarterback that I think better suits our needs, we could just cut Anderson and start over. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, he threw for 2,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 8 picks. He wasn't particularly good. Craig Hall is, we drafted him a couple of years ago, and unfortunately his contract is up this year, and he wants like $11 million or something like that. So we'll have to see. Our quarterback position could look very different next year. We need to figure that out, because with this defense, all we need is an average offense, and we're right there. Running game, Frank Dew had to carry the load this year because we didn't have a backup. We didn't re-sign Kenyon Drake, and John Shoemaker wasn't having it, averaged 2 yards a carry. Frank Dew had a really good year, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, was fantastic, but we got to get him some help. Receiving, even Justin Jefferson had a down year, only 109 catches for 1,090 yards. For Justin Jefferson, not a great season. His worst season, I think, of his career. And we're wasting his career, and that's the worst. The worst thing to me is he's now 28 years old. We'll probably get another couple good years out of him. Christopher Robson, he was a free agent signing this year and was really good. 76 catches for 700 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tight ends don't average a lot of yards per catch in this game, I've noticed. But 85 overall, 75 speed, 83 hands. He signed to a contract that reduces each year, so that'll be good. Jalen Waddle had 2 pretty good seasons with us. 72 catches for 862 and 12 touchdowns last year. Only had 1 touchdown catch this year, but caught more balls and more yards. He'll probably be gone because he wants a pretty big contract as well. Dalton Keene, we're probably going to trade him this offseason. We're up against the cap, and a lot of that's because we've invested so much in our defense. So Keene will probably be gone. Waddle will be gone. So it'll be Jefferson, Robson. Hugo Adams had a career high in catches, 34 catches. He signed next year as well. So an opportunity for him as the number 2 wide receiver. James Barnes was one of our draft picks. 4 touchdowns, only 11 catches. Defensively, we're a damn good defensive team. Tremaine Edmonds, 111 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 interceptions. We re-signed him, I want to re-sign him. He doesn't want a lot of money. I do want to bring him back. J.C. Horn had a fantastic season, 106 tackles, 2 picks. His contract is up as well. Yeah, we have a lot of contracts that are up. Muti, Barmore. Actually, no, they're not. It's not up. Okay, did we re-sign those guys? I can't remember. Yeah, we signed Horn, 15.7, 14. Okay, so he's re-signed. Tremaine, we did re-sign Edmonds next year for $14 million. Okay, so I locked up our defense long-term. I figured, take advantage of what's going well for us. Lacey Bush was our first-round pick. Was it last year? Yeah, it was our first-round pick this past season. And was it this past season? Where's history? It's over here. Yeah, 2027. So he was our first-round pick this year. Great year. He and J.C. Horn on opposite sides. We've got a couple of really good cornerbacks, 1 and 2. Myles Garrett and Omar Sumner on the ends are just an absolute wrecking ball. Myles Garrett with 15 sacks this year, Sumner with 14. So we've got a 100 on one end and 89 on the other. Our defensive ends are just elite. Jabril Cox had 9 sacks of his own. He was really good too. Joseph Cochran, our young, strong safety, already up to an 89. So yeah, our defense is fantastic. Our defense is super, super good. We just got to sort out the offense here this offseason. Lacey Bush was our main punt returner and kick returner. Kicking game was pretty good. Christopher Van, 36 of 41 from field goals, made all 36 of his extra points. So let's go to the roster. We'll show you the draft real quick. Excuse me. So again, our first round pick, Lacey Bush. We only had 5 picks this year. Lacey Bush was our first round pick. Danny Levy was our third round pick, a 76 overall tackle. Carl Darby was our second round pick. It wasn't a good second round pick. 69 overall. He's only 20, so I'm hoping there's some development there for him. Alfred Adkins was our 5th round pick, not particularly good, and Martin Stewart was drafted in the 4th round. So, first round pick, second round pick, third round pick, 4th and 5th. We didn't have a 6th or a 7th. So that was our draft. We got a couple of good players out of the deal. Contracts, a lot of contracts expiring. None of them are going to be super crushing. Hugo Adams, maybe. I'd like to bring him back, but we'll see what he wants. But that's really it. Muti was pretty good, but I don't know that I want to bring him back for that kind of money. Barmore didn't really play much. Waddle, that could hurt a bit. Thornhill's 31. I'm fine with letting him go. So we're going to look different next year. You can see we got $12 million right now. We're going to gain about another 25 once we switch over. And we'll see what's available. It's going to be an offensive-heavy free agency and draft, which I'm super excited about. It's always more fun to draft offense. So I'm really looking forward to trying to improve our offense here. Defensively, we are in really good shape. So figuring out the offense is going to be the plan of attack here for the 2028 offseason for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, let's take a look at, who do we want to take a look at now? Let's take a look now at the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild finished 57-20-5. And it wasn't even the best record in the Western Conference. It was the second best record in the Western Conference behind the Oilers, who were 57-18-7. Second best record. So we had the second best overall record, and I don't know if you saw there at a glance, but we once again. This was not a good postseason for us. We lost to the Blackhawks in 7 games, and in franchise hockey manager fashion, it was because of injury. We lost our main goaltender midway through the season to an injury, or not our main goaltender. Let me pull this back up. Hang on a second. There we go. All right, so we had suffered, and they're not showing up now. Everybody's healthy because we're through the season, but we lost a handful of players right at the end of the season. We were healthy until like February, and then players started dropping like flies. So it became a bit of a challenge, but it started right at the beginning of the year. Our one big free agent acquisition was Moritz Seider, who was 26 at the time, and he blew out his knee in the preseason and missed the entire regular season. So he'll be coming into next season now 27. We signed him to a 4-year, $20 million contract, or I guess 3 years, 15. So we got him for 2 more years after this at $5 million each. Looking forward to adding him back into the D pairings. He'll probably be our second line, right? He'll probably be our second pairing. So Makar and probably Kiviar. Oh, God, look at how good he's getting. Kiviharu on the top line with Seider and Addison on that second line. We'll just take a look at the stats. Our offense wasn't quite as good this year as it had been in the past, but our defense was fantastic. So Kaprizov with another 100-point season, another 40-goal season for Kirill, who's now 31 years old. I hope I don't waste his career here. Has yet to get a title with the Wild, but I think we're getting there. If we can stay healthy, I think next year is the year. Beckman centering that top line, averaged more than a point a game again, 60 assists for him. Tanner Howe 69 points as a 22-year-old. Nice. 41 assists. Alexander Campbell, 63 points. Cale Makar had 63 and 75 in his best offensive season for us. Cole Caulfield with another 30-goal season. Travis Konechny finished his second season with us with 57 points, 24 goals. His contract is up. Marco Casper, 24-year-old, 52 points. Mazden Leslie, 48 points. Huge on the power play. 31 of his 48 points on the man advantage. Ryder Korzak, down to only 3 stars, but 46 points. Adam Yeko, 22 years old now, 16 offensive rating, 46 points, 68 games. Marco Rossi, his contract is up. He's probably, I think his contract is up, or did we re-sign him? No, we did. We re-signed him 3 years at $5 million a year. Brendan Brisson, 26. He's the one whose contract we didn't re-sign. Yeah, Brendan Brisson will walk after this year at 26. Cale Addison, an okay season. Offensively, about a point every other game, but he was a plus 38, which, I mean, that's awesome. Jesse Nurmi, 32 points. Brodin, is his contract finally up? It is. Jonas Brodin's contract is finally up, so we'll say goodbye to him. I love defensemen who have that 16 defense rating, so we may see what he's asking for in free agency, but for now we're going to let him go. Aaron Kiviharu, only 33 points, but a 16 offensive rating out of a defenseman. Looking forward to what he brings next season. David Urasek, a little more well-rounded, but a couple of just stud young defensemen. We brought in William Karlsson at the trade deadline. Scored 17 points in 26 games for us after only scoring 6 points in 45 games for the Bruins. Tuomala we brought in as a waiver wire claim. Bryant was a free agent signing just to give us some depth. Jovanik was a free agent signing to bring us some depth. And then Jesper Wallstedt was our main goalie this year. I had to trade Hunter Jones to keep the game from continuing to play him. The game just, for whatever reason, loved Hunter Jones, so I traded him. Wallstedt, 39, 11, and 4 with a 2.85 and a 919 save percentage. He was really, really good. That's not the draft. I didn't realize this was here. Did not realize this was even here. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Cool. I didn't even know those were there. That's good to know. The draft was nothing to write home about. Again, we didn't have any. We had a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick. Our first-round pick. Let's see if I can find him. No, this is who we got for Hunter Jones. Royce Buck, a 21-year-old winger. Teddy Townsend, no. I know somebody told me in the last episode how I can pull it up, but I can't remember how to do it. I can't. Just know that it wasn't a spectacular draft. I think we were picking at the bottom, and we didn't have a second or a third, so it's a pretty quick draft. We do have all of our draft picks this year. Next year we have 2 second-round picks, so we should be able to re-add to our bench. Because Iowa doesn't have a whole lot. They've got Ivanov, who likely will be our backup goalie next year. But beyond that, the cupboards are pretty bare down in Iowa right now. So we need to start filling in the depth. And we don't have a lot of money to spend in free agency. If we look at cap obligations, you can see we're already at 80, well, I guess we're going to be here, $81 million, so we're already going to be right at the cap, so we may not be able to do anything in free agency. In fact, we may have to try to move some contracts, and I think Rossi would probably be the first one to go. Yeah, I mean, Brisson's going to walk, Tuomala's going to go, Konechny's going to go. We're not going to trade Kaprizov, we're not going to trade Beckman, we're not going to trade Caulfield. I didn't realize Karlsson had another year. Shoot, that's why they were so eager to get rid of him. How did I miss that? All right, well, Karlsson and Rossi might be the two that have to go, especially Karlsson. Damn it, I don't know how I missed that. All right. Well, I will sort it out like I always do. But those are two players we can move to give us some space if we need to. Brodeen will be gone, so we'll run with Makar, Sider, Allison, Leslie, Jurasek, Jovanovic, and Kiviharu will be our defensemen. 1, 2, 3. That's our 7 defensemen, yeah. Let's see. What else do I want to look at here? Nothing. I think that's about it for the Minnesota Wild. So last but certainly not least, we are going to take a look at the Twinkies. The Minnesota Twins. They finished last season 92-70, yet another playoff appearance. And we got knocked out again by the Houston Astros. So we took over in 2022. We've made the playoffs every season. So 7 seasons, 7 playoff appearances, 1 World Series championship to show for it. Of course, it was in our worst season when we were the wild card team. But we went 92-70 and won the division this year. We signed Victor Robles to a 3-year contract worth $21 million. That third year's a team option. And he was reasonable. 262, 11 home runs, 68 RBIs, put up 3 WAR, playing right field for us. We didn't do much else from a big league roster perspective. We made one deal. We ended up non-tendering Kumar Rocker because he wanted $12 million a year and nobody was interested in him. So we non-tendered him, and you can see he's already down to 2 stars. Played a little bit for Washington this year, but we non-tendered Kumar Rocker. We did not re-sign Alex Kirilloff, instead going with Robles, who was asking for a lot less. And we went with a young pitching staff. We went with a really young pitching staff. I think we had some injuries again this year. No, we just moved Tyler Mahle into the bullpen. His contract is, we have him for 1 more year, unfortunately. But he'll pitch out of the pen this year. He wasn't particularly good. And we went with the young starters. Chase Petty, Woods Richardson, Chance Mako came up midway through the season and was great in his 11 starts. Roman Kimball, Brian Mata, Mason Ashcraft. We went with the young starting rotation this year, and they developed and they played pretty well. Nothing great. I mean, Petty was 15-10. He was probably the best of the bunch. Was the best of the bunch. Caleb Appleby was phenomenal out of the bullpen for us, 2.1 WAR. I used him as a stopper, 125 Ks and 111 innings. Caden Campbell was pretty good as a starter. His rookie campaign, 9-13, but he'll be fine. Let's see. We traded for Jared Kelly. Who did we trade? We traded Hugo Pena, right? Because Pena wanted like $12 million in arbitration or something like that. So we traded him, and he was really good for San Diego. We traded him for Jared Kelly, who isn't as good. Oops, let's get to our scout. Isn't quite as good, 2.5 star, 3 star, but he's significantly cheaper, and he was absolutely dominant with us. 25 games, put up almost 2 WAR as a closer, 22 innings, struck out 45. He was a starter in San Diego. We made him a closer, and he was dominant. So hopefully we can keep him in the closer role, and he continues to pitch well for us. Pitching staff, a lot of young talent here. So I'm hoping next year all of these players kind of take a step forward. From an offensive perspective, Juan Soto, man, just a fantastic season. 8.2 WAR, 30 home runs, 81 knocked in, 461 on base percentage. And Royce Lewis, he got hurt at the beginning of the season, and when he came back, he just hit like a Hall of Famer. I mean, frankly, the BABIP, unsustainable BABIP, but put up 7 WAR, 357, 419, 583 out of our shortstop. Nico Horner bounced back, put up almost 5 WAR. Eloy Jimenez came back from an injury-plagued season and performed, put up 3 WAR, mostly with the bat. We talked about Robles. Byron Buxton's contract is up, so we're going to have to figure out what to do with him. Elite defensively in center field when he's healthy. Put up almost 3 WAR last year. Tristan Cassius finally delivered. He hit 29 home runs and 30 home runs his first 2 seasons with us. But this past season, career highs across the board in at-bats, in runs and hits and doubles, in home runs and RBIs. I mean, he finally gave us what we needed. 44 home runs and 121 RBIs for Tristan Casas. We brought in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in the regular season. I love Kiner-Falefa. I have him in like every game I ever play. And he did exactly what I needed him to do at third base, which is play great defense and get on base reasonably. Had 156 hits, 34 doubles, hit 280, and played great defense. So he's signed to his contract is up, but I will likely try to bring him back. Blake Hunt continues to be the starter at catcher. Struggled this year after having a really good season last year. Catcher's a position we're going to need to take a look at in the offseason. We picked up Andres Moya in the Rule 5 last year. He was the number 13 prospect in the majors. He was bad as expected this year, but next year he'll start in AAA. Since he doesn't have to be on the roster next season. So, I don't know if he's going to develop, but we'll see. Bregman, we have one more season with his contract at 7.3. He's all but done. So, yeah, I think we're going to be looking at upgrading at catcher, and we might have to figure out center field. I think we have a little bit of money. Oh, we have a crap ton of money. Did we get a bump that I didn't see? I guess I didn't look at any of the emails, so... Oh, okay. That's why Horner and Soto both voided their contracts. So we're gonna have to re-sign those guys before we do anything. And that's gonna eat most of our money, but that's okay. We even if Soto is, let's go high end. Soto wants 40 and Horner wants 20. We're still gonna have $50 million to spend in free agency, and maybe we can pick up an ace starting pitcher. Potentially a catcher, and then we'll see what to do with Byron Buxton. The draft, I believe it was a pretty effective draft for us. First round pick, Eric Robbins, a center fielder, can play multiple positions. I think his ratings across the A's, good, decent ratings. He is an outfielder, but good ratings. Along with the loyalty, work ethic, and intelligence, I think he's going to be really good at age. Once he develops. His nickname is also Wheels, which is pretty cool. Our number 2 pick, Pete Polito, a 23-year-old, was already pretty well developed. Started in A-ball, will be in AA next year. Low ceiling, high floor kind of guy, but 3 good pitches. Looks like a pretty good middle-of-the-road starter. Abel Cornaby was our 3rd pick. Can't play defense, but has a pretty good bat. Ezra Lowenthal, he was a pitcher. We made a hitter. Again, can't really field. Potential right fielder if the range improves, but has a decent bat. And Ben Medina, a 22-year-old who, these are the players I like, right? With the couple of really good pitches. He looks like he could have good stuff. They have him in the bullpen right now. So for the Twins, we'll be looking at maybe a top of the rotation starter and a catcher. But we got to figure out Juan Soto and Nico Horner before we do anything. So that is it. So we are through year number 7, right? Year number 7. Let's just go here. It'll be easy to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, year number 7. We have 3 championships, so we need 9 more championships in the next 11 years. So that's what we're shooting for. We're shooting for 12 championships in 18 seasons to match what the city of Boston did between 2001 and 2018, which was their last championship, the Patriots. So we got a ways to go. We got 3 down, 9 to go. We have 11 years to do it. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support. And again, if there's anything you want me to cover in these reviews, let me know. I'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.